Is Rick Van Wieren from Remax Properties, and we're going to go through the February statistics here to give you a sense of market conditions as of March 1, 2019. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to start off with some total figures from our MLS. The first thing I want to point out is that our active inventory is still very, very low. It's improved from last year, but it's still only a 1.6 month supply. And that, of course, is based on February sales, which are starting to pick up for the year, and still just a very low inventory point. Key information for this month is going to be right here, and that is that our inventory or our prices are actually jumping back up a little faster again. We were up 6% on the average, and the median jumped 7.7%. That's up from like 3% last month, so a big difference there. And you can see how prices are steadily growing. This chart shows you 2017, 18, and 19 against each other for the median and for the average. So things are definitely moving up there. We were at 99.3% as far as sales price to list price ratio. In the median days on market, half the houses that sold last month sold in 17 days. And we ended the month with 1,711 pending sales. And what we're seeing on those pending sales also is that things are accelerating. The median price of the pending sales is higher than the median price of the closed, and so we expect that as we go into the spring, we're going to see some new price records hit this summer. In terms of this next slide, what we're trying to do is focus in a little bit tighter on the county, and then the next slide will be for the city of Colorado Springs. What we're finding is that business practices are changing. We're having more and more agents that are listing inventory with the Pikes Peak Association of Realtors that are not really at the heart of our business area. So we are starting to report some statistics separately for El Paso County only. One of the things you can see here is we actually have fewer than 1,200 homes and a 1.4 month supply of homes for sale at this point in El Paso County. So that's a very important thing to consider. A 1.4 month supply is a critically low level of inventory. We sold 835 homes in February, again, down just slightly from last year, which was a record year. So February prices mimicking very much the total MLS, as are some of these other metrics, other than the median days on market's even faster when the house is inside the county. For the city of Colorado Springs, you can see kind of some of the same thing going on here, but this shows you the difference when you take the whole region, or in complete MLS, compare it with El Paso County here, where we go from 1.6 to 1.4, and then inside the city of Colorado Springs, we're actually at a 1.3 month supply of homes. All the other metrics are kind of keeping up, but again, this median days on market is even faster as we get inside the city of Colorado Springs. A couple other key indicators I want to point out. First of all, interest rates remain at very low levels. One of the headlines last week was that interest rates were at a 12-month low. Bankrate.com kind of keeps a nice trend line here, and you can see how from November to now we've really seen a nice rundown of interest rates, and this is great. They ticked up just slightly this week, but hardly at all. Second thing is new home permits. The official numbers haven't been released by Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, but according to the preliminary report that we were able to get from their website, it looks like we have 275 single-family permits issued in February. That's up sharply from January. We're seeing some bouncing going on with those numbers because this is one of the code change years. Pikes Peak Regional Building adopts new building codes only once every 6 years, and so January 1 was one of those. And they, in a private presentation they did for us as a company, they let us know that they felt that actually held back the January permitting because builders were redoing some of their plans to comply with new energy code and so forth. But 275 permits for February, that's a very solid number, and we're expecting to see numbers similar to that going forward. And then the last one is this unemployment rate. And right now, the most current rate we're seeing is from December. Bureau of Labor Statistics is reporting us at 4.5%. There was a big statistical glitch that was revealed just 2 weeks ago. And it's very unclear as to what the real unemployment rate is at this point. So stay tuned. We expect that this is going to get fixed before too long, but the mayor did a private presentation for us as a company, and one of the things that he pointed out was just the thousands of open job requisitions that are here in Colorado Springs that have not been filled yet. So we expect that number is actually probably not exactly right, and that will be coming down. And so stay tuned on the unemployment rate. So lastly, just a little bit of a summary as to what's going on. We're seeing moderating forecasts for interest rates. Last year, there was talk that rates were going to pop into the mid fives. And right now, we're looking at most of the forecasts now showing that we're going to be in the upper fours at most this year. The economy has kind of settled down just a little bit, and the Fed has not seen fit to continue to raise rates every month. That's huge. And frankly, there's some international factors that are coming into play here as well, where the global economy isn't doing quite as well as what it had been. As far as the new home permits, I mentioned the code change thing. Activity has definitely picked up, and the builders are going to try to pick up the slack. But one of the things that we're running into is that the builders are having a harder and harder time hitting the median price point for the city. And of course, that helps when the median price point starts rising again. But the fact is that land, labor, and lumber are all going up, and we don't see any of those going down. And those are the main cost components that go into building a home. So look to see new construction continue to be strong, but it's going to be at the cost of higher prices in many cases. And then on the employment data, I mentioned the kind of glitch in those statistics. Because we have so many open requisitions, I think the mayor mentioned 1,600 open registered nursing jobs alone in the county. Those are such huge numbers. That is going to continue to bring people here, and that is going to continue to help household income. And so we expect that the employment data is going to continue to be strong, and that we're going to continue to have very good news coming out of that front. Right now, we are still seeing continued pent-up demand for homes as millennials have kind of postponed their marriages, home buying decisions, having kids, etc., during the recession, and are now kind of back into gear as far as hitting some of those key milestones. So we think that we're going to see overall some continued pressure on the supply of homes here, and that we're probably looking at a 4 to 6% rise in local home prices. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great spring.